Yo YouTube! This is my video for Wednesday the 24th of September. Before I go into today, I'll tell you about the last 2 days, Monday and Tuesday. On Monday morning I was planning to work and I hadn't got anything booked in, so I was looking for decent long distance jobs paying a decent rate, and I couldn't get anything. My rates were a bit higher than would be acceptable, I suppose. I thought I'd just chance my arm and do sort of rates I wanted to work for. Nothing came through. I didn't feel inclined to go too much lower, and after about 2 hours I thought, I can't bother this anymore, and had the day off. I had a few things to do, a few jobs to do, and we did those, me and my partner, on Monday. And I was going to do some admin and video editing for last week, but got home and couldn't bother with that either. So on the Tuesday I hadn't got a job booked in for the morning, and I decided, I'll have the day off. I really wasn't feeling it. I had a look at the feed, got a couple of bids on, but I really wasn't that bothered. So I decided to have Tuesday off as well, just because I could. I felt a little bit tired, I suppose, and I felt like I'd earned enough for this month already to not worry about working every single day, which isn't necessarily the right way to approach this job, but it was the way I was feeling yesterday. And so I had a day off and I did absolutely nothing constructive. I was very lazy, and that's that. And then I did get a job this morning, which is the same job that I did last Friday morning. It was an interesting situation because the job came up on the feed. I put a bid on that was a bid again a bit higher than I would usually do, but I thought, if the company sees me doing the bid, they're going to give me this job. And interestingly, I didn't get the job, but it's reposted saying pays £140. And I thought, well, that's fair enough. I'd bid 150. I'll do this off 140, and I was pretty convinced I put 140 on and get the job. And within 2 minutes, I got a phone call and got the job. So I really appreciate this company, and it feels like when this job comes up, as long as I catch it in time and bid the right amount, I'll get it, which is a really nice position to be in. It's on the number of miles is a bit disputed. On the CX booking, it's 121 miles, but my actual mileage is more like 130. That's because my quickest route today is going up the A1M and across the M62 to Oldham, rather than across to the M6 and up to the M6, across Birmingham. So I think that route is shorter slightly, but this is going to be quicker. So I'm doing the quickest route. It's about 2.5 hours journey in total. I'm going to be offloaded at about 11. I picked up at 8:10, and it's just a really easy job to do. So I was 35 minutes away from the pickup, so I leave the house around 7:30, and that's a good time for me to leave, to get on the road quickly but not too early. So this is not a bad job for me to do, and if it comes up again, I'll try doing it. Also, the items are, at least on this occasion, 3 light-ish items I can handball on up the van, so it's not a big deal. And I'll end up in a good place, end up in Oldham, which I think is a good place to get work from. So before I go, the only thing to talk about really is I haven't done any editing for last week's videos yet, so I might just give it a few days before I go into that and do it for publish them next week instead. So I'm 2 weeks behind. I don't know, I don't feel the motivation at the moment to sit down at a desk and do that editing. So this may be the start of a change of how I do YouTube, or this may be just need a rest for a week. So I'll give it a week's rest and I'll see how I feel after that about doing it in the way that I do it at the moment. I mean, it's not that onerous to edit them, but it is like every day I have to do something on it, and that's probably the bit that I find a bit monotonous about it. Oh dear, I'm tired. So anyway, I'll let you know how today goes. Cheers. I have got myself a second job. I'm driving about 4.5 miles from where I dropped off in Oldham to Duckenfield, and I'm picking up a long wheelbase van job going 147 miles to Kettering, which is perfect for me because I got £160 for this job, because I bid that because it's just over £1 a mile and it gives me the £300 gross for the day, and I'll be finished sort of 3 o'clock-ish maybe in Kettering, which isn't that. Kettering's about an hour and a quarter from my house. So really couldn't be more perfect. Apart from going to sort of, I don't know, Spalding, Peterborough, Holbeach, it would have been maybe a bit better, but this is perfect. Actually, no, this is more perfect, because in Kettering I might get a little job from Kettering to say Peterborough or Cambridge or Boston, Grantham, even Lincoln, Nottingham, which will get me more money and not be that far from home. So actually this is better than me getting a job all the way back to my house, because it gives me a chance for a third job. Now, I'm going to be there in about 15 minutes, and I only had to wait about 15 minutes from my drop-off. The time now is 23 minutes past 11. I was off-site at my first job at 11 o'clock. And so this is a really good work. And the only thing that I wanted to say of note is, when I was looking for jobs in Oldham, I remember thinking there were jobs that in the past I would have jumped on. There was, for example, a job going from Warrington down to the Hereford area, and one going to Wrexham and Cardiff and Crewe, and they're all going away from home. And although I got time to do those jobs and look for a third job, I know from my experience that's very unlikely to happen. I'll just end up being stuck there, and they weren't quite going the distances where I could make all the money. I waited for about 20 minutes before I got the job out, and it's perfect, and I bid the right amount and I got it really quickly. So I think today, me being in Oldham and going for the right bids worked well for me, and that only works for 2 reasons. One, I've got some experience and knowledge about what I'm trying to achieve and what's going to happen from my experience and my mistakes in the past. But 2, there's loads of jobs coming through in this area. Although there's lots of drivers, there's lots of job opportunities, so I can almost pick and choose the best job for me, which is why I like coming to the northwest. It really suits me to get home to my part of the country. I get paid, not every time obviously, but it depends on the time I'm looking. I think if I get there around about lunchtime, just before lunchtime, I think it works better than if I get there just after lunchtime. Right, so my day's going to be really easy today. Just do this, go to Kettering, and then maybe get a job back, maybe not. But it doesn't matter. I'm going to have made money for the day. I'm going to have made something like $2.40 net today, I reckon. Maybe even a bit more. So, what a really good start to the week, although it is a Wednesday. Right, so yeah, I'll let you know how the rest of the day goes, but thank you for listening. Cheers. Okie dokie, it's now nearly 3:15. Just dropped off my load in Thrapston in the end, not Kettering. And it's early, and I'm going to head home. I have looked at jobs. I had bid on a couple of things, but I don't want to go too far away from home. And the stuff that's very close is going quite cheaply. So I will keep an eye out, but I'm going to assume that I don't get anything else. But based on what's happened today so far, I would say this has been a pretty much perfect day. A perfect example of how I can make money on the CX and live off it. It's just that this is such a rare example that it's probably the first time it's happened in nearly 3 years, 2.5 years of doing this. Or at least I can count on the fingers of one hand how many times I've earned this much money with this amount of ease. So it's not the usual. It's definitely the exception that proves the rule that it's difficult to do this. So here are my stats then for today, based on an average fuel price of 14.68 pence per mile. I have driven today 360 miles, 360. I will have only worked a total of 8.75 hours by the time I get home at 4:15, which for me is a pretty short day, but it seems like this is the most efficient use of my time just to go home now. I'm about an hour from home. It's about 40 miles away. I've earned from 2 CX jobs £300 exactly. And so because you take off my fuel, which came to £52.85, that means that my net earnings for today, after taking into account fuel, comes to £247. 247. And that's it. It's simple as that. You just get a job out in the morning and a job back to home in the afternoon, and then you stop work and you make loads of money. I'm so like Preston Riley now, aren't I? This is the idealised day, and because it's idealised, it doesn't happen very often. So you can't base a whole year or month or week on achieving this sort of ease of earning. But every so often, like I said, it does happen, and I need to. What I'm doing today is not what I usually do. Is I'm going to take advantage of my good fortune to finish early with the money I need, and then just go home. In the past, I'd have kept on trying to get another job. Might have taken me further away from home. If I get a job from here to Derby, let's say, that came up. Derby's about an hour and a half from where I live, and you're not going to get much more than £50 for a job from here to Derby. So it's going to take me probably a good hour and a half to do the job, another hour and a half to get home. It starts to feel like it's not worth that 2.5 hours. Doesn't feel like it's worth the £50 extra. So that's what's different today. Me getting home for 4:15 feels like a much better option for me at the moment. So that's it. That's the end of my video. Thank you very much for listening to this video. I hope that you are all being successful, however you choose to define that for your own lives. And I shall be back tomorrow. I've not got a job yet for the morning. I'm more likely to be working tomorrow if I've got a job. If I haven't got a job booked in the morning, who knows, maybe it'll be another day off tomorrow. I'll try not to make that the case, but sometimes it's tempting. So yeah, so we'll see how it goes tomorrow. Another day, another adventure tomorrow. Farewell, friends.